Okay, we at the place called St. Peter Primacy. Here Jesus, like a reinstatement of what already was told to Peter, that on this rock I will build my church. Remember to see this, what you see here, right? You see, feed my sheep. And that's the story here. John 21. We have two events here, two issues here. First, we read the scripture from John 21, the last chapter, the last appearance of Christ after the resurrection. From here, he went up to Jerusalem and then ascended into heaven. After the 40 days after the resurrection, that was the third appearance to his disciples. That was here at the shores of the Sea of Galilee. All right, so we have this story with the breakfast. Remember, we are now at noontime. Now you have to understand, the fishermen went back to their business. Maybe this whole story of Jesus was just a nice story. Now he left us, so we're going back. And I read to you this morning, they should be fisher of men, but they went back to their business, right? And Simon Peter said to them, I am going fishing. Okay, and then they brought the whole to the boat, and they went out, immediately got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. But when the morning had come, Jesus stood at the shore. Imagine, Jesus at the shores. And the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Then Jesus said to them, children, have you anything to eat? Some food? No. And he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. So they cast, and now they were not able to draw it because it was multitude of fishes. Therefore, the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. Now then, when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment. Right? And then we see how many fishes came into the net. How many?
153.
153. Why? Normally you read just multitude of fishes. That's it. Why using a number? I know there are many commentaries to this, but we have also our Jewish commentary, and even two. First, as you know, every letter has a value. Alpha, Aleph, is 1, Bet 2, Gimel, all right, all the alphabetic having a value, a number. So if you count the term Bnei HaElohim, sons of God or children of God, Bnei HaElohim, I can write it down for you if you want, you get the value exactly of 153. And not to forget, there should be fisher of men. So the number of this two names in Hebrew, in the Hebrew language, Bnei HaElohim, equals 153. That is interesting. Another thing, if you take the chapter 10 in Genesis, where we have the list of all the nations, all those 70 nations, remember? If you, all the names that are mentioned there, you get the number 153. Again, nations. Be the fisher of the nation, of the man. So that's our interpretation of this number that is mentioned here. Now to the next story. And that's the story where Jesus asked Peter 3 times. You remember? So when they had eaten breakfast, okay, you eaten lunch now. Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than this? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him again, a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, Bar Yonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And then he said to tend my sheep. And then he said it the third time. Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? You have to understand, he remembers he was denying him 3 times. And that's exactly with our life also. We deny Jesus many times. And he will keep asking you, do you love me? Think about it. We sin. We deny Jesus many, many times in our life. And he will still call and said to us, do you love me? Haim ata ohevoti. Those are probably the words in Hebrew. Haim ata ohevoti. Do you love me? And that's why I always love to give you the time to go down to the beach, have a quiet, private time. And you know, there is in the Jewish faith a thing that we call tashlich. From Micah chapter 7, the word tashlich, throw it away. You take a stone, it's symbolic, okay? Everyone has a burden. Everyone has something, get rid of it. In his life, a sin or something that he fallen in sin. Just take under prayer and throw it away into the depth of the sea. That's the idea. Now you have to understand, I experienced many, stories here, especially at that place. One time I had a lady here from my group. She had a really long time burden in her life to get rid of. And they went down, like many groups, going down. And she also, under a prayer, threw a stone into the sea. And she asked God to forgive her. That really, start from the new. And she came up and asked God, give me a sign that you heard my prayer was heard. And the time was almost over. I give her 15 minutes, like usually. And she came up, and the sign that she asked was, show me a stone in a shape of a heart, so that I can be sure that you heard my prayer. And I just didn't tell her about those huge stones. You see those heart-shaped stones? Those 6 stones that we have here? Heart-shaped stone, big one. And she was standing on one of them. She was looking for a small stone. And God gave her to stand on a huge. And I told her, you're standing on a stone, heart-shaped stone. And she started crying. So that's always also, sometimes we think small. We should start thinking big.
Amen.
And God is doing big things. Sometimes we think in our man, God want to have us thinking in big. So she was always standing on this heart-shaped stone already. And then she cried. And she knew that her prayer was heard.